wins.
Second in states in 1980, coached by Terry McNamara.
All right, 119 pounds. Dan Hopkins from Comac South, Section 11, against Doug Watson from Burnt Hills, Section 2.
From Burnt Hills High School, Section 2, 17-year-old senior, season's record 32-0. Hopes to attend Laterno College in Texas. As a member of the Adirondack Freestyle Wrestling Club, he was 8th in the Nationals in 1979, 1st in the States Freestyle 79, 2nd Greco-Roman in 79. His lifetime record 103-12. Doug Watson.
All right, and we're going to hear a lot of cheering because Jim Pastillo, this Section 2 group from the Albany area, has brought a lot of people here, and they've been causing a lot of noise to reverberate off these walls these last 2 days. And from Burnt Hills, Doug Watson from Section 2, and Dan Hopkins from Comac South, Section 11.
Section 2 is currently in 4th place in the team standing. I don't believe they stand a chance to win, of course. They're 30 points out. There's a takedown by Dan Hopkins.
That doesn't help Section 2's at all right now. But as we said, there's been a lot of people here all cheering for their own section, and I'm very impressed with Section 2 from Albany. They've brought a large contingent. And Doug Watson pinned his way into this in the semifinals, and that's an unusual feat. When you get up this far, you don't get that many pins very easily. All the wrestlers are very tough. Right now being controlled now by Dan Hopkins from Comac South.
Both boys undefeated. Dan Hopkins 32-0, Doug Watson 30-0.
And I believe they said Watson was in that Century Club, over 100 wins, as he gets brought unceremoniously to the mat by Dan Hopkins, who doesn't care how many wins he's had because he's just as good, he feels. Right now he's controlling 2-on-1, got a leg behind, good ride, trying to bring up the hand through the crotch, control, maybe a crossface. And referee right there does a nice job keeping him from going out of bounds. So it's 2-0. Favored Dan Hopkins. Both boys very strong, and watching them on their ways up to meet in this final 119-pound weight class. Unusually enough, when I watched Watson was behind 6-2 when he pinned his man, and there wasn't very much time left, so Watson might be considered to be fairly lucky to be here as he's struggling to get out of the hold of Hopkins. And we get a warning for stalling on Hopkins from Section 11. He has been warned for stalling.
Can't hang on to those legs and just hang on and ride with them. You can get away with it for a few seconds, but then you're going to get that warning call.
Watson adjusting his headgear, getting ready to get on top. See if he can get some points. He's down 2-0. Hopkins very quickly moves, turns to his advantage and gets a reversal. Hopkins is quick on the bottom. He had a nice first move.
Yes, he did a little sit and he turned in. He reacted to Watson's move, and
right now he's trying to get some back points. A little sloppy, but he's got a good control, very strong. The Albany area fans start to call out Watson's name. Currently down 4-0 now as Hopkins gets on. Looks like he's working for a leg, trying to control the hand.
He's doing a little crab ride there.
Yes, he is. If he touches those hands, he could be in a little bit of trouble, but now he's going to get the leg in. Now, of course, the standard operating procedure is try to elevate the leg and get out, and that's exactly what Watson's trying to do, and turn it to your own advantage by controlling the arm and levering it, but we'll see. A lot of people yelling advice, Jim.
Yep. Right now, Hopkins going to hang on, try to get those hips out. He might even just hang on and hope for a stalemate call.
As you mentioned, he did slide his hips out. He's in pretty good position. As a matter of fact, he comes right back on top. Good point. Hips are very important in wrestling. if you get them underneath you all the time, it's very difficult. Hopkins got his hips out, slid them out, was able to come up around and get a little bit better leverage on Watson, and he had been in trouble for a minute. Now he's back to the 2-on-1. Some of these wrestlers remind me of Gene Mills. They ride so far out to the side, trying to control the body, pull it in, as we get a 1 point for red, green stalling. So Doug Watson benefits by getting 1 point as Dan Hopkins from Section 11 is called for stalling. What was the reasoning there, Jim?
Well, he wasn't really trying to turn the boy over. He's riding with that cross arm ride and little arm cross arm ride, and he wasn't really trying to turn him over. And he was warned for stalling once, and
that's it.
That stalling call sometimes really gets these guys going.
Yeah, as you say, some will react very effectively, but right now we've just got another point for Watson as he got an escape, so he's only down 2 points, 4-2, as this second period winds down. And that's it right there. So Watson in a little bit better position than he had been. He's only down by 2 points in this 119-pound weight class, and Dan Hopkins has already given up 1 point for stalling. And Hopkins is on top, so he's going to have to work pretty hard.
Hopkins going to have to try to turn him over. He got that stalling call. He's not going to be able just to hang on and ride.
He seems to do the same move every time on the top. He's got that arm locked pretty well if he can. Now they're going to be out of bounds. Good tight waist by Hopkins, controlling the arm, but as you said, he's going to have to try to turn him over. Brings that elbow in tight, slides his hips up, tries for the 2-on-1. Oh.
Hopkins seems to rely on the crab a lot. First move from the whistle, he sits and may look like he's just sitting down, but that's his way. He sits in there with a little crab and he counters everything that Watson's going to do.
Did a nice job there, scooping the leg out, as you said. Watson trying to stand up, and I guess you have to do with what got you here. And if he uses a crab, and he has used it very effectively, who can complain? And right now he's a little high on Watson. Watson may get out. He's going to get one anyway. Yes, he does for an escape. It's 4-3. We got a whistle.
Yep. Shoes are untied.
Okay. Good eyes, Jim. We got 1:08 left, I believe. That put Watson in a good position. 4-3, if he can take him down, he's able to win. And by the same token, Hopkins can't afford, he's at a stalling point, he can't afford to relax either. So this should be a tough 1 minute and 5 seconds. Right there. Hopkins got the ankle. Good pick. But Watson trying to get the hip in, get the leg in. He's got a leg in. No, he doesn't have it yet.
Not yet.
Oh, now he's high. Hopkins trying to come out the back. 40 seconds, 39 seconds. Still no points awarded. We said this last minute was going to be tough, and it's brought the fans alive as Watson throws a half, and he gets 2 points. He might get some back points, but he's awfully high. He better get around back.
Hopkins got 20 seconds to score. He's down by 1.
He's going to try to, Watson going to try to control. What do we got?
He just got to take escape, called neutral. Both.
We're even, 5-5.
5-5, tie score.
No points. Oh, I want to tell you, Watson did a great job of getting out of bounds on that. He was in trouble. Both were in trouble, but Watson at the end, huh, Jim?
Best match we've had so far.
Whoa, we got 3 seconds, and anything can happen. Okay, that's it. We've got overtime.
Both boys will have a 1 minute rest.
Well, we've got some exciting match. We've got overtime. Dan Hopkins, Comac South, Section 11. Doug Watson, Burnt Hills, Section 2. 3 1-minute periods, and this is the first one right here. They're tied up. It's a race. We start all over again. No points. It was an exciting match. And right now we've got points. Hopkins scores 2 quick ones on a takedown. 12 seconds into the first minute of overtime. When we get into these, I think you find a lot of overtimes in these finals, Jim.
Well, hate to keep saying this, but these boys are all champions, and there goes some back points.
Well, that's going to be very important.
Jeez, he's up 5-4-0.
5, I believe. He gave him 3. Yes,
Yep,
it's 5-0. Tipped him on his back. Just use that. Ran the hand up through the crotch, got the hand and turned him over on his back, almost like a stack. Right now, Hopkins is riding him.
He's hanging on for 2 seconds.
And that's it. Well, Hopkins very impressive here in the first minute of overtime, racking up 5 points to none for Doug Watson.
Place finisher for the awards area.
Conditioning comes a big factor when overtime.
Good point. I was just going to say, not only have these boys been wrestling a lot here in terms of the overtime, but they've been wrestling all week, and conditioning, as you mentioned, Jim Costello, is a big point. Right now they start, and Hopkins again controlling. Doesn't seem to be using that crab as much as he did in those in the regulation.
No, he might have thought that that got him into trouble and cost him to go into this overtime, so maybe he's going to give it up. He has been a little bit more aggressive than he was in that third period.
He's got that leg kind of trying to stack if he can bring him back over. Kind of a cross body ride. Now he lets it go. Both boys are tired. I think Watson seems to be the more tired of the two right now, as Hopkins riding him hard and in control with a 5-0 lead in the second overtime period. Watson trying to shrug it off, and whoa, he's going to get an escape. Yes, Watson has an escape. He just kind of threw him out there. Luckily he turned in. He might not have gotten those points. But Doug Watson did turn in, and he got 1 point. He's 1 point better than he was at the end of the first overtime period. 5-1. As we get a nice shot of both close up there of Doug Watson. He prepares to get on Dan Hopkins. And as you said, conditioning is very important. This is the 9th minute of this wrestling match as they... Right, oh, good arm control by Hopkins. He's going... Yes, he gets an escape. He just grabbed that arm on the waist, spun out, turned in.
Went into a little Peterson move. Instead of taking that leg with the Peterson, he
That's right.
kept that arm pressure and turned in. And
sort of a half of a Peterson, I guess, right? He now shoots for the takedown. Hopkins has come on strong in the overtime. Well, right now we've got Watson again locking up the leg, locking up the head, trying to drive him over. 6-3. But 18 seconds left in this match. Man on top, Doug Watson down by 3 points. Trying to get Dan Hopkins from Section 11 on his back. He throws a half, tries to walk it up. No, we're going to get a full Nelson. Oh, we get a potentially dangerous. It was very... Oh, yes.
Full Nelson, yes.
Full Nelson, you're right. Good call, Jim Costello.
The official didn't see it, but the assistant official saw it, and I think we all saw it right on the camera.
That's right, which tells us why we have an assistant official. And that's why I have Jim Costello here as an official to help me out. So 7-3. This is just about it for Doug Watson. 119-pound weight class. The winner,
1980, New York State
Dan Hopkins.